What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo, and may the odds be ever in your favor. I hope the odds are in everybody's favor this weekend when we gamble. That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to gamble on the couple of games that we got in our conference championship games, but we got some coaching hires, some coaching conversations, a lot of things to do with coaches going on that we're going to cover today. But my man, Evo, how you doing, man? It's been a long fucking day. I wore my Canopy shirt today because I was making a movie. And by making a movie, I didn't do anything. I was just a producer, which means I just kind of sat around and made sure that people got the shit that they needed. But
was
a long day.
Was Harvey Weinstein a producer?
Yes, he was.
Just making sure. All right. That's cool. That's awesome for you. In all honesty, yeah, dude. Long day, but a long week. Like I had a 4-day work week.
Oh, nice.
Thanks to MLK. Love it. But this week did not feel like 4 days. This week definitely felt a lot closer to a 5 or 6 day week. For whatever reason, I just have been getting more and more swamped at work or whatever. But I'm happy to be here because this week feels even longer, probably because we didn't have football since the college football playoff in Mendoza. Like we had that game, we had our football playoff games last weekend, and then it's just been dry. It's been dry. We have news. We have football news and some good stuff for me and my team. Good news there, but it's been a dry week without football. And it's kind of, I feel like, they have a light fell. They have the talks about depression in the wintertime from sitting inside and stuff in cold climates, right? I feel like for me as a football fan, I could feel that gloom of the football season's coming to an end. But then we do have all of the off-season activities to look forward to, which is an awesome time. And I'm getting hyped for that. A big off-season activity for us happening next week when we'll be joining each other in Mobile, Alabama to witness the Panini Senior Bowl. Going to be awesome. A lot of fun. It's been fun doing research for it and looking into some of these players, guys that I definitely in the process had not looked into yet. But now I'm hearing more about them and smaller school guys where I'm like, this guy's going to get drafted and be pretty damn good, I think. So it'll be fun to get to see those guys in action and report back to everyone who watches us on our thoughts on these players and have probably the most in-depth view of the NFL draft and offseason that we've ever had in our lives and in the history of this show.
I think that is a guarantee. I have been kind of working all day. Like when I was not actively doing shit for the movie today, sitting there crushing out player report cards and player reports and getting ready for everything down in Mobile. I'm about 3/4 of the way through the national team. So over the next couple of days, I should get the other side knocked out as well. And we'll be ready to go come Tuesday. But I'm excited.
I am nowhere near as far because I have been pretty busy. I mean, we're both busy, but like I am planning on this weekend hammering stuff out, maybe a little bit of Monday, including hammering out the wife since I'm not going to see her for multiple days. And then we got the plane ride out there, going to be just grinding and doing research on the plane as well, as best as possible. So looking forward to it. Again, we've brought this up before. If you're new to the show or haven't seen it, if you guys have questions, thoughts, things that you want us to look for there at the Senior Bowl, stuff that you want us to do, even if you have food recommendations for us at the Senior Bowl, let us know. Interact with us because you probably don't get this in all of your big major podcasts where you can ask questions of the guys and they'll actually go boots on the ground and figure it out for you. We are the common man. We are the raw dogs. We're going to be on the ground doing whatever you guys want us to do, in addition to getting to see the sights and sounds of the Senior Bowl, getting to see those players out there competing and trying to get a good idea of some of the prospects that are going to be going into this NFL draft.
Yeah, man, it's the next couple of weeks are going to be crazy for us. Obviously, going down the Mobile, doing all of that, and then, getting ready for the Super Bowl. Obviously, we got that week in between. We're going to figure out, kind of when we're doing shows, what we're going to do for those shows. Because we have a lot of things to kind of go over throughout the season, the way things kind of recapped on predictions that we made. But the Senior Bowl I cannot wait. You're telling me that apparently there's going to be a lot of NFL personnel down there. Hopefully, we'll get an opportunity to maybe rub some elbows and have a little conversation with maybe a couple of those guys while we're down there. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And obviously, I mean, it's fucking football, dog. We're going to sit there for day after day after day. I got no kids. I got no fucking responsibilities to deal with, man. Producer Amber, I love you very much, but I'm very much looking forward to going down to Mobile and just having nothing but football.
Hey, look, we are football degenerates for sure. That's one of the ways that Mike and I originally connected was we are fucking degenerates. I'm the guy that really loved going to training camp when I was younger because it wasn't about walking around and getting to meet some of the old-timey players and things like that and see the memorabilia that they'll have at training camps. That's all cool and that's fun, and you definitely participate in that. I liked getting into the nitty-gritty of watching the practices happen, and if you find pleasure in watching practices, you are a fucking degenerate, and that's us. We like getting into that nitty gritty of it, so it's going to be fun. But yeah, what Mike brought up is that the Panini Senior Bowl, a new guy took over as the lead dude for the whole Senior Bowl. The previous guy, I believe, is now the GM at Oklahoma or Nebraska. I can't remember which one of those Midwestern colleges.
GM's at college, man,
which is wild, right?
Yeah.
But we, the new guy that took over, and I apologize because I'm not familiar with his name, but I will know that name before we get out there, just in case we happen to rub shoulders. But he actually changed up a little bit of the schedule out there where the practices take place at different times and the interviews with the players, because there are a lot of interviews just like at the combine. They switched up the timing of all of this, and it works better for everyone's schedules as far as the front offices and coaching staffs of the professional football teams. So they said that they have an 80% uptick from teams sending out coaches, scouts, the front offices, where they didn't have that before. That most of them apparently said, this doesn't work out schedule-wise. We don't really get good time to commiserate with one another, which is where, a lot of deals start to happen at the combine and stuff. It hasn't been happening as much at the Senior Bowl because they haven't been able to have that sort of access, and there hasn't been as many of them there. Now, apparently that 80% uptick coming from the teams means there's going to be a lot more of those front offices and coaches out there so they can start to talk ball. We might start to hear a little bit more about trade rumors and things like that come out, or deals happening. And that's going to give us at Raw Dog Sports an opportunity to possibly run into a few of these folks out in the town. Now, I know that's kind of a hope and a wish, and maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but at least we're going to have the opportunity. We're going to be in the same area as these guys, so it'll be pretty cool to even possibly sniff a chance at that. And I don't know about you, Mike, but I'm going to be reaching out to some of my favorite podcasters who've covered the NFL, who are also going to be out there as well, to see if there's any chance for us to be able to meet up and just kind of pick brains and things like that, not only about the channel, but about football.
Absolutely, man. I would love to get collaborations with there's going to be a lot of people down there. So we're going to do some research on people that we could maybe run into, do some collaborations with. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people, a ton of people, maybe even people that we've gotten in an argument, or I've gotten into arguments with on Twitter.
Very possible.
But we will see. My man, Monraj, I'm going to go with that. Monraj, hello.
How's it going, buddy?
Here. My man, are we ready to kind of start hopping into some of these storylines? Because I don't want to dive right into these games. One of these games is going to have a massive conversation, but it's going to feel very one-sided with this Broncos and Patriots game. So I feel like we got to give the people some teasers, because there's some fucking wild news coming out of the NFL, as always. Like one of my favorite storylines that has kind of popped up, which I don't know if there's any validity to it whatsoever. Like there's a chance that this could happen, but the Phillip Rivers interviewing for a fucking head coaching job in the NFL, like, was the head coach of a high school football team this year, came out of retirement, played in 4 games, and now is just interviewing for a head coaching job and probably the best available job. That's fucking crazy. I love Philip Rivers. I like him as a person. He's probably a damn good coach. Obviously, he knows what the fuck he's doing. Like, he can come in at 40 plus. I don't remember how old he is now, and operate an offense because he knows what to do. That's a coach's mindset. But to go from having never coached in the NFL and only at a high school level to NFL head coach seems like a fucking wild stretch.
Yeah, look, it's a cool move. I feel like it might be a waste of the Bills' time, but they're trying whatever they can do to gain some good PR because they've had a bad fucking PR week since firing McDermott. But like the idea behind it sounds kind of cool and everything, but the reality is that this isn't like other sports, specifically the NBA, where you see guys who really don't have coaching experience completely make the jump to the next level. Some of them have very minimal coaching experience, but then they just make the jump and now they're in charge of a whole team. NFL is a dramatically and drastically different beast. For those of you who don't understand the ins and outs of the daily things that NFL coaches do, John Gruden has a YouTube channel. He breaks down tons of different things, but something that he's done very recently is a week in the life of an NFL head coach. I watched it last night. It was pretty extensive where he went through his old notebooks and everything of what they do every day, getting up at 3:30 in the morning as the head coach, coming in, having all these film sessions before 8 a.m. when you start to interact with people, the ins and outs of the quality control coaches who are basically just data miners. They are the guys who are going into the video and the tape and trying to figure out tendencies and these little things. They break down the film into everything that happens on first down. Every time we line up in 12 personnel, how does the defense react? Different little minutia. All these things are happening, and it's this crazy ecosystem within an NFL locker room. And you're doing that, and that's just one day where you're getting done at 8 to 10 o'clock at night, and you're doing that every single day, not to mention when you have short weeks with the Thursday of football and stuff like that. It's crazy. If you don't go into that job as a head coach, already having experienced all of the logistics that are involved with that, it's going to be way over your head. God bless Philip Rivers for teaching high school football. And there's some of that in there, but nowhere near the same amount. I don't know about you in high school, but my high school football coach was also a PE teacher.
Ours taught at the middle school, but he was a fucking teacher. Like we would do film sessions during our lunch period in the driver's ed room.
Go back to Somalia.
This guy, all right, man.
I'm not from Somalia.
This guy's apparently hard to please. This content sucks. I agree. You should leave. Yeah. I agree. It blows.
We're not for everybody.
No, we are not.
Some people don't like real life raw content where we bullshit. But
you know who does? This guy. Derpy, what's up, brother? Thanks for hopping in again. We're gonna talk about this pretty extensively because I'm starting to see a trend that there's a lot of people who are talking themselves into the Broncos being able to win this fucking game. I'm going to see if I can maybe talk myself into it. I don't know if I can.
You know, I just noticed that the guy's name is Hard to Please Guy. It makes sense. Maybe it's a shtick. In which case,
I hope it's
I
a
fucking
shtick.
love it. I fucking love it.
I hope it is.
The Somalia comment might be taking it a step too far.
That was crazy. Well, I mean, you are from Minnesota. That's the problem.
Little Somalia, apparently. Which every time I go back there, I do notice the cultural changes. But that's not what this podcast is about.
No,
if you want to talk about that shit, check out The Talk, also from the No Sleeves Network. But again, different conversation for a different time. Point being, with Philip Rivers, it's a huge undertaking, and you have such a minimal amount of time to prepare and be ready for an NFL season if he were to get hired today, to get all of his ducks in a row, to start going to the Senior Bowl, the Combine, all the different pro days, things like that, prepare a staff. It's a lot. I have no doubt Philip Rivers is a smart guy. I have no doubt that he was a field general and knows football like the back of his dick, which he uses a lot.
A lot.
But
He's fucking raw too, dude.
yeah, he might be the OG raw dog.
The
Him
original.
and Tyreek Hill, but and Stephon Diggs. But I think that this is kind of a PR move type of interview. I can't imagine much else.
Yeah.
Some of the other candidates that they have coming in are very legitimate, hot names that would make a lot more sense. But yeah, the Bills have had a terrible.
I think we can stay right here with the Bills because this is a cool story, but there's some really not cool shit coming out of Buffalo. Namely, their owner, Mr. Pegula, just decided he was just going to drag a whole group of motherfuckers for absolutely no reason and completely incorrectly. Beane looks like an absolute buffoon in this situation because immediately after this press conference, possibly even during, footage comes out that shows Beane being like, "Oh man, I'm glad he ran slow. He's going to fall in the draft for us." It was just a litany of errors. I don't even understand how an NFL owner can say that many asinine things in one press conference, but he seemed to alienate basically his entire team, especially Keon Coleman. I mean, that one was without a doubt.
Yeah. Not since Dan Snyder have we seen this sort of buffoonery. It was just a really, really bad look. Obviously, most of these guys get PR trained to some extent, especially the GMs who are talking a lot more. But because of Pegula being involved in this, like he's out there talking about the decision and then just was interjecting where he really shouldn't. And their PR people were probably being like, "Oh, fuck, we didn't prepare this old man enough." Yeah, Keon Coleman absolutely dragged. Don't get me wrong, we drag him too because we
100%.
weren't a huge fan of his, where he was falling in the draft, some of his capabilities, and then for the most part, he has been a bust so far in the NFL. Doesn't mean that he can't make a leap or get better. Obviously, he is physically talented to some extent. He's got, a huge frame, which is good for a wide receiver. He needs to work on them hands and the separation a little bit. But we've seen guys like Quentin Johnston, who had a resurgent year this year and previously looked like an absolute bust. So it's not out of the question that he can't develop. That being said, from an ownership group, unless you have a plan to fire this guy, much akin to what's going on in San Fran with Ayuk, where in the press conference, they're publicly saying, yeah, he's probably not playing for the 49ers ever again. And that makes a lot of sense. You shouldn't be doing this to a young player that you still have in a rookie contract that potentially could be a part of your future. Even if he's not going to be, though, you probably don't want to just kick him to the curb like that on a bad note, because it's a bad look from the franchise perspective. And again, this has been a week of bad looks. You fire a head coach, which the players didn't want gone. The fans didn't want gone. They're starting petitions to have him reinstated.
Like 40,000 names or some shit already in this petition that are like, "Hey, we want this motherfucker back." Appreciate you.
Love it. Thank you.
But dude, it's insane, like how it went so sideways, right? Because they had a chance. I mean, they just had the shot to fix what was wrong, and they took the completely wrong route. They fired the coach instead of the GM. The owner bashes his own players. And you brought up the fact, what is the plan? Their biggest fucking hole is receiver. I mean, what they need Keon Coleman. They need him to work out. They got to figure out, they're going to have to go out and get another guy.
Brandon Beane went into this last offseason, if you remember, on I believe a radio show, and started bad mouthing them about not knowing ball when they were suggesting, "Oh, you must be looking at receivers in this draft class," and him being like, "No, I think we're good. You guys don't know ball," and shit like that in much more aggressive terms. Really took it personally. Well, I think that the proof is in the pudding. Like
they need a fucking receiver.
They've been lacking receiving talent out there, and again, we like Khalil Shakir on this show. We think that he's a fantastic piece in that room, but the room is lacking otherwise. Brandon Cooks has done a good thing in quite, or he's been good his whole career, but he's still not the Brandon Cooks from 5-7 years ago. And you only brought him in later in the year. You've got a whole bunch of other Jags right now and Keon Coleman. It's like lying, pissing in my face and telling me that it's rain. It's obvious what's happening, and you can't just get it over on an entire fan base and the media as a whole. So wild stuff happening up there. I think that it probably has to scare away some of the coaching candidates that they would want to interview. So that's got to be tough. But speaking about scaring away coaching candidates, I've seen some reports about your Cleveland Browns and why some of the potential coaching prospects have turned down some interviews there. Apparently, there's a rigorous process happening where they're wanting guys to take personality tests and write essays and take exams.
And we're just fucking think tanking ourselves out of being a good fucking football team, man. And it pisses me off so bad.
So Tariq, assuming, or Tarek, I don't know how to say it. But I am a Vikings fan, football fan as a whole, but a diehard Vikings fan. Mike is a supporter of the Cleveland Browns. We are both fans of much maligned franchises, but in general, we love the NFL as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thank you for hopping in here. I'm not sure how to say it, but we're gonna go with Tarek. That's just easier for me.
Big T.
There we go. Yeah. So we are kind of fucking this thing up, in my opinion. And it pisses me off that I'm gonna have to talk about it because it's gonna sound ridiculous, and it's gonna sound racist almost. But the Browns have to now go out and find additional black coaches to try to interview because they've had guys that have fallen out of that. They have multiple guys that have decided to say, no, I'm pulling out. They get other jobs elsewhere. Minter being one. So there's this whole scenario swirling around about pieces that are missing from this fucking coaching search. Right? So now we're going to have to bring in another African or American coach or
minority
coach,
non-white.
Yeah. And at this point, most of those guys have been identified that are viable candidates. This is one thing that we have talked about in the past about the Rooney Rule that kind of sucks, is that now somebody's going to get called for a job interview with absolutely no intention on having the opportunity to get that job, simply based on them being a minority, which I think it's great. We need more minority coaches in the league in higher positions, especially when you have that many minorities in the league, right?
Yeah.
But the idea that now somebody's going to have it feels like a slap in the face. And we're going through this crazy rigorous process where we're giving out personality tests. We are making this so much harder than it has to be. Like, just go and interview football people about football with some fucking football people. But we have this analytic think tank that I was really hoping was going to die kind of with DePodesta, but it doesn't seem to have done that. It's kind of lingering, and it's going to fuck this coaching search up, in my opinion. I'm not liking the way this looks right now.
Look, you guys obviously still are in on Udinski. I feel like you have the fallback plan of Schwartz, and those are good options. But I have to agree that you shouldn't arbitrarily find a way to limit yourself by turning away potential applicants, making yourself undesirable. No offense to the Cleveland Browns fans or you, but you weren't the most desirable position going into this search. Not the worst. You're not the Arizona Cardinals, but you have had a history of not doing well. There are some bones to your team. but you probably have to sell some coaches more than others to go there. And I don't think it's a super tough sell, but when you start adding these layers to it, it starts to become a tough sell.
Right?
If I'm looking at two different jobs that are equally good opportunities, if one of them wants to be like, we need a vial of blood from you to make sure that you have the correct blood we want, and we
Lock of
need
your hair.
yeah, we want this personality test to make sure that you're our type of guy, I'd be like, you guys are fucking weirdos. And the other guys just want to talk to me and hear my plan for how I can build their franchise.
I'm
And
gonna do that one.
they're gonna pay me the same. And also, I don't have wackadoos I got to work with every fucking day. So it's a I think it is specifically what I said to end our show last time. It's okay to step on your crank, just don't stand on it. And you guys are kind of standing on it now. So for your sake, I do hope that you get to hit on someone like a Udinsky. But it
Ain't
is
looking good.
well, he's interviewing with
Buffalo.
Buffalo as well. And Buffalo is having Josh Allen sit in these interviews and kind of getting to have a little bit of say in this.
They're gonna have a conversation that are gonna be like, oh yeah, that guy and me, we're gonna be great. They're gonna hit it off perfectly if Josh is in these fucking interviews.
Yeah. I can only imagine the conversation that Udinsky would have walking into Buffalo being like, you guys give me a personality test? No. No. Yeah.
Tarek is that hey, you got one converted, my man. You got a Vikings fan now.
Awesome. I
Another one
appreciate
coming
it.
in
They're a
here.
fun team. They're a fun team.
I enjoy watching your boys. I do. This is interesting because obviously you guys get the re-signing done, right? It now on paper inked, but potential for head coaching opportunities still out there. Is a potential candidate in Baltimore and in fucking Pittsburgh.
Was a
Or
candidate in Baltimore.
oh, is he out of in Baltimore?
Yeah, because they got their
Oh
head
yeah,
coach
Minter.
in Jesse
Yeah,
Minter.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah.
Duh. So he's still a candidate in fucking Pittsburgh.
Though the rumor today is that they've narrowed it basically down to 3, and that Flores is not one of those 3. Mike McCarthy, Shula, and Cliff Kingsbury.
Interesting. So that lawsuit is still outstanding. Doesn't appear like he's going to be in line for a head coaching position. He is now going back to Minnesota with the Vikings, but there was some turmoil going on there as well. And there was turmoil apparently within that coaching staff and those coaching ranks that kind of came to light today from another Cleveland, I guess, sports show or podcast. I'm not sure what the fuck they classified as the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And they asked Mike Pettin what his opinion of B-Flow is, and he's like, not one that I really want to share. Fucking keep that to myself. We don't see eye to eye. And he kind of took the high road while also basically saying, I don't fucking like that guy.
Yeah.
So I think that B-Flow probably has a very, very type A personality. Super hard-nosed, fucking defensive coordinator. Like, yeah, super type A. Rubs people the wrong way, probably. But I think that there is some credibility to his lawsuit and all the shit that was happening down in fucking Miami. And that being outstanding still, we've talked about it in the past, is probably going to prevent serious looks at head coaching jobs. At least until, I mean, honestly, now he said what, 3 or is it a 4-year deal with you guys?
I'm not sure. And honestly, I haven't paid attention to the length of the deal because I would expect the lawsuit to not drag out too much further. We're probably looking at another year, but even so, he should have been undeniable this year. And I expect the same thing to happen next season, that he's going to be undeniable in his ability to coach an incredible defense. and I would expect this to be a very short-lived contract, just for a year. I'll be sad when he goes because I think he's an amazing coach.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been reported. What I was reading was from his last deal. When he signed his original deal with you guys, he signed a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Listen, I think he's a great coach. I was lobbying for him to come to Cleveland. I think he's a fantastic fucking coach. But with the outstanding lawsuit, I don't know if he's ever going to get that look, man. And honestly, even if that lawsuit goes away, the nature of the lawsuit and how long it is drug out, they might just kind of fuck him over. Say, nah.
I have a thought on that, and it's one that I don't like to think about too much, but I'll get to that here at the end of my statement. One, super happy to have him back. Apparently, according to reports this week, or this deal was done roughly a week ago, and he waited on signing it. But the Wilfs, the owner of the Vikings, went to him and gave him basically a fuck you money type of deal, like probably the biggest defensive contract for a coordinator out there, which I've been championing, saying this guy deserves head coach money because he is the head coach of your defense more than other defensive coordinators are, and he brings so much value. And I'm sure there's offset language for when he does eventually leave for a possible head coaching gig. That being said, the Wilfs went all out to get him there, but there has always been this underlying rumor that some reporters have said there is something, we don't feel comfortable talking about it, so we're going to leave it as is. But there was something else that was kind of hitching things up. And I think Mike Pettin might have been part of that. Mike Pettin retired this offseason and is no longer the assistant head coach on the Minnesota Vikings. But in his interview, Mike Pettin said, yeah, 23, 24, I was on the defensive side of the ball working with outside linebackers. We didn't see eye to eye. So I was on the offensive side last year, and basically said he would leave it at that because they didn't see eye to eye, which is understandable. That's allowed in football. You can have disagreements in how you're going to operate on the same side of the ball. Everyone, and I think this should be true in most parts of life. If you are a leader and you have subordinates who think that there's a different way to do things, I would like to hear that. It doesn't mean that I'm going to run with it, but I want to
doesn't
hear
mean it
your
happens.
thoughts. You might have a good idea and we can do that. But obviously there was friction there of some sort. They probably got into it at some point in time and didn't want to work with one another. And Flores probably said, I'm not going to be in a position lesser than this guy if he's around. And Pettin was probably like, fuck it, I don't need to be here. I'm a defensive minded guy, and you have me as the assistant head coach working with the offense. This isn't my cup of tea. And as far as I'm concerned, I was cool with the Pettin hiring because he was coming on to help a brand new head coach. A guy who's been a head coach can help a guy who's a brand new head coach. But we're beyond that now. And if we saw how the offense operated last year, I wouldn't want that on my resume. So I don't know why Mike Pettin's going out there saying I was with the offense last year, because that's a black mark. So I personally am fucking fine with it. I want that guy in Flores who's a aggressive type A personality. And you know what? The players fucking love him on that side of the ball.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, that's the type of personality you have to be a defensive player. You have to be a little fucking crazy. You have to go at it with, like, that is the mentality. So it makes 100% sense why he vibes with defensive players.
Yeah.
Also why, I mean, honestly, with this younger generation, man, like that, the idea of kind of being in your face and celebrating and all of that shit is newer. Like, you talk about the Barry Sanders, you like that old school hand the ball to the ref and go. That's not the way things are anymore. B-Flow is also that exciting, in your face type fucking dude, and it really plays with a younger locker room. So I think he's a great coach. At some point, he should have another opportunity. I just don't know if it will ever come.
And that's where my kind of reckless speculation kind of comes into this. It is, if we have another down year, if the offense doesn't perform, I think
Really?
that's the succession plan. that they would look to possibly, because, all of this stuff about Kevin O'Connell being an offensive guru and being able to be the quarterback whisperer, well, it didn't work this year with a guy who in JJ McCarthy who had, such high expectations. And I personally still think that obviously there's the potential there. And I think that things can go a lot better, especially if we get the injuries under control. The whole team had injury problems this year. So it makes sense that it was a down year. But if we see another year like we did this year, then Brian Flores is probably already getting paid a healthy amount of money. He's already being looked at as a head coach. How many times do we see, let's say in Tampa, where Liam Cohen leaves and the fan base is like, we should have kept him. And now they're calling for Todd Bowles' head, and Liam Cohen goes to his new team and they make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they look really good.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of those things happen in history. Well, the Vikings have an opportunity where if this guy could be gone in a year and, hey, things aren't working out on the offensive side of the ball again, maybe we bring in a new offensive side of the ball. And that would require Kevin O'Connell either getting rid of his ego and swallowing his pride and firing a bunch of his guys beneath him who have typically gone on to bigger jobs like Grant Udinski, or you move Flo in as the head coach. And I think that's a real possibility. If things tank next year, going into 2027, a draft that's loaded with quarterback talent, you possibly got to look at starting with a fresh slate.
So even you're like talking about Udinski. Everybody wants Udinski. That's the hot name right now after the guy names have come off the board.
I don't know. I'm not saying Udinski. I'm saying Flores would take over as the head coach and bring in new offensive minds. But Udinski is one of the guys that left Minnesota and has gone on to go do good things. Not that I would ever have replaced O'Connell with Udinski. I just would have fired Wes Phillips and promoted Udinski to the OC spot.
Okay, understood. Got it. Listen, that's my guy. That's where my heart lies, is with Udinski right now. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll have to look back at that episode. I said a hot name that you probably haven't heard of yet, but pay attention to.
Yeah,
Grant Udinski.
As soon as I looked, yeah.
I'm glad he's gaining some steam. But we did have one major head coach hire happen with the Baltimore Ravens. They get Jesse Minter, formerly coached with that team, has gone and done really good things with another Harbaugh down there in Los Angeles with the Chargers, and now he takes over as the head coach. And I do think that the fit makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Listen, that defense has been kind of maligned, right? A lot of talent, a lot of names, but they have not had a ton of production. Injuries played a huge role. Kind of the moving around of Kyle Hamilton played a big role. Jesse Minter is going to be able to go in there and really kind of get that defense on the right track and set them up like, the Ravens of old, the teams that we kind of expect the Ravens to be. It pisses me off. It sucks. But, he's a great coach. He has helped out a fucking fantastic defense over there in LA. I like the fit. I hate saying good shit about the Ravens and the Steelers. Like, it fucking pisses me off. But yeah, the fit's great.
You knew this was going to happen, though. That
100%. They're great jobs.
Yeah.
Even if the Steelers suck, it's a great job because you won't get fired. Like,
the leash out there is tremendous, the best in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great fit for them.
Yep. Absolutely. But that's about it for the major news. We did have former Colts owner
Jim
Irsay, who, had passed away recently. His doctor is being investigated by the FBI for possibly the ketamine and other pain relievers and stuff that he was prescribing him, possibly leading to his death. Something that'll be interesting to kind of watch. We got a little Michael Jackson situation here. Doctor possibly misprescribing.
I saw a fucking billboard today in downtown Cleveland for a ketamine therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but don't turn. I'm going to look directly into the camera when I say this and speak to the people. Don't fucking turn ketamine into the new opioid addiction. God damn it.
There is, again, probably not for this podcast, but there is low dose ketamine treatments that help people get off of drugs, deal with other mental disorders and stuff like that. It's become much more widely accepted, even in our community, through the VA, where they use it for PTSD to some extent. The viability for it, and again, it's a low dose sort of thing. Like,
Right.
you know how you see all the ads for Hims and uh, what's something with an R, fucking all those things where you can get dick pills and
Row.
stuff. Yeah. You can see all that shit on TV now. I've seen some ads for daily ketamine tablets that you can take. So it's becoming much more mainstream and normal,
Oh,
which
all
is
right.
wild to think that we'd be at this spot 10 years ago, but this is where we are. Um, I would have to assume that his doctor probably was giving him a little bit more than the low dose.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when you talk about Jim Irsay, one of the things that you have to kind of bring up is the substance abuse issues that he's had. So it sucks that there was a doctor prescribing him shit that led to his abuse of drugs and then potentially his death. So yeah, it's shitty.
Yeah.
Like,
Something that we'll watch and track going forward.
yeah, fucking people are gross. Anything for $1. Anyway, all right, let's get off of this. I don't want to turn this into a talk episode. Let's make some dollars for the people. Let's talk some gambling because we got a couple of fucking banger games. We got the conference championship. The first game, however, has some upheaval. We got the Patriots taking on the Broncos in Denver. The Patriots are favored -4.5, over under 42.5. The big storyline, no Bo Nix. Jarrett Stidham is going to be the starting quarterback. Can it be done? Can this defense and excellent coaching on the offensive side get enough points out of Jarrett Stidham to win this game and fucking possibly go on and win a Super Bowl? Eva, where are you at on this, man? Because I've seen some guys that I respect their opinions, like in the national media, kind of talk themselves into the idea. Yes, actually, I do. Yeah, it's fucking great.
It's the best.
The best.
Back to this game. We're both in the Army, so we're both lean a little both ways.
Yeah, I guarantee you I've done more gay shit than Moon 51 has.
Well, we don't know Moon 51.
That's true. That's true. I don't know Moon 51.
Either way. Yeah. Look, it's interesting because the line on this game has moved. I bet this game pretty quickly when on Monday, I think, after all the injury news had come out. It was Denver +5.5 originally. Right now, it is Denver +4.5 at -120 odds, over under of 42.5. So some of the PR that's been coming out of there has worked to some extent on the betting market. Jarrett Stidham doesn't have a huge track record. He is a very big unknown. He is hung around as a primary backup at multiple franchises. And you just have to go off of Sean Payton's word to some extent as to how well he'll be able to perform, which Sean Payton's been doing his damnedest to tell everyone, I'm sure in the locker room and obviously to the media, that this guy is going to be all right for us. You couple that with the fact that Bo Nix has an award on our show for that we give out to quarterbacks who have bad days. Bo Nix hasn't been a rock star the entire time. In his good games, he hasn't even always been a rock star. He's been solid or above average. It kind of makes you go to yourself and say, if they can get average to above average play out of Jarrett Stidham on offense, coupled with that really good defense, and they keep this game low scoring and close, then the 4.5, or where I got it at 5.5, which I didn't take, but where I saw it at 5.5, it's a possibility. And here's the other kind of wild take. Jarrett Stidham goes out there and takes this team to the Super Bowl and puts up 2 good games. He immediately becomes just like Mac Jones and is huge trade bait, because he'll be a name where people can be like, oh, this guy's the backup sitting behind a guy that they have to start in Bo Nix, and maybe he's got the same amount of talent or more. He took this team to the Super Bowl.
Like old Big Pole Foles action going on here?
Potentially. Who knows? Maybe he's the better quarterback in the roster, a la Green Bay Packers, Malik Willis, and Jordan Love. We're going to get to find out on Sunday if he's got any sort of juice. Because I don't know if he has any sort of juice, and because I've seen how good the Patriots have been this year, despite going on the road to a tough place to play, I'm going to be going with the New England Patriots in this game on the money line. I feel like that is safer. If I wanted to get a little bit saucy with it, I would be looking at this Denver team plus the points. And I would have taken them at that plus 5.5 when I had the opportunity. That being said, it's a huge ask of Jarrett Stidham, huge ask for a guy that has very little starting experience. So that's why I'm leaning with the Patriots in this one.
Okay, so listen, I'm also leaning Patriots because, I mean, Jarrett Stidham has not put up any. I mean, can you remember a time where preseason or anywhere you're like, man, Jarrett Stidham looks pretty good right now?
There was a point that I think he was talked about as being the starter either with the Raiders.
It was Mac Jones. Mac Jones beat him out, right? In New England is where he was.
Yes, he beat him out in New England. Stidham was the backup there. And then I believe Stidham went to the Raiders and was the possibly presumed starter until the Geno Smith trade happened. Something along those lines. But this is the other thing. We've heard this a couple times this year with guys jumping up and starting from, being buried on the roster. It happened with my Vikings with Max Brosmer. All of a sudden, Max Brosmer is going to start. There's these reports of some people on the team actually think that he might be the better quarterback on the team, and he's ready to go. And we saw this with Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers, like there's a lot of people in the office here that are pretty hot on Quinn Ewers. And what did those guys do? They both basically sucked ass. I know you kind of liked one of Quinn Ewers' games or whatever, but
listen, he didn't play terrible. He didn't play good. Guys were running wide open, and he threw it to them.
Sure. But I've heard this story a couple times this year, and fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on me again, I guess. But I'm not going to be fooled 3 times.
Well, what's not going to fool me is the idea that Sean Payton is going to take a offense that already kind of struggles with their starter, and he's going to put in Jarrett Stidham and generate a bunch of points. I just don't see that happening. I mean, I don't know that they even get to 20 in this game. And then you look at it on the opposite side. I got the Broncos defense, which is going to have to play their fucking asses off. Best they've ever played. Like, they're going to have to sell the fuck out in this game to keep it low scoring with the Patriots. So that maybe 17 wins it, right? But the Patriots aren't going to go off on this fucking Broncos defense. I kind of swore off the idea of overs and unders earlier in the year, but I'm bringing it back, baby. This is going to be an under. I'm going under 42.5.
All right.
I don't see a lot of points being scored here, man. The Broncos, to even have a shot, have to keep this low score. And Jarrett Stidham is not going to put up a bunch of points. So I just cannot see how this goes and gets a shitload. And I like the idea of going under here. I hate bad football. I hate betting on bad football. But a defensive battle is not necessarily bad football.
No, it can be a little less entertaining for the more common fan. But when you see really, really good defensive play like we've seen from one of the next teams we're about to talk about in the Seattle Seahawks as of late, it can be a lot of fun to watch that. And that's our next game. LA Rams going to Seattle versus the Seahawks. Seahawks are favored minus 2.5 points, minus 104 odds, over under of 46.5. They have split on the season. We've confirmed this last week.
We checked.
But the last win was from Seattle, and that was a banger of a Thursday night game. And if there's been one team ascending and one team kind of starting to middle or fall off a little bit, the Seahawks have been ascending, and that Rams team has been struggling some. They were barely able to get by versus the Carolina Panthers. They had themselves a decent little run early in the year, but then defensively things have definitely fallen off to some extent. We're starting to see a little bit more of what Stafford's age show up. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on this game? Are the Seahawks going to continue rolling as this number 1 seed, or are we going to be able to see the Rams and McVay put together another all-star performance to get themselves into the Super Bowl?
I think that we're going to see a little bit of both. I mean, you talked about the last game, right? And it was fucking wild. You call it the best Thursday night game of all time. Final score 37-38. In that game, Sam Darnold still threw 2 picks, and they were able to find a way to come out on top. Kenneth Walker had a good day, led the day rushing. He's going to have to do that again. That's where this kind of comes, where I'm hinging on my pick. Is that Kenneth Walker, who is actually, if you think about it, kind of rested considering all the reps that have been taken away from him from Charbonnet.
Genius move, Seattle.
Yeah, genius move. He's fresh as fuck. So if he can go out there and have a decent running day, we know that Darnold works better off the fucking play action. He always has. So if they can get the running game going, I think they can win this game. And honestly, 2.5 is so close. I don't think that we often see 1-point games. I don't foresee another 1-point game. It'll probably be a 3-point game. It will come down to the end, is my guess, because both of these teams are good. The Rams are very good. Stafford is gonna fucking win MVP. And the last game that these guys played, Stafford went fucking bananas. Over 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. So there's no disrespect to the Rams. They had a great year. I think that this will be a banger game. But if Kenneth Walker gets going, Seahawks win this thing. I'm going Seahawks, and I'm dropping 2.5 because I like the odds better there. And I think that it's going to be a 3-point game.
All right. Well, if we look at the last 3 games, all playoff games, Sam Darnold has not thrown for over 200 yards in any of those games. 147 versus the Panthers, 198 versus San Francisco to end the year. And then last week again versus San Francisco, 124 in an absolute fucking rout. Seattle has seen Sam Darnold towards the end of the year where he started to get a little bit more wild and huck the ball and have some more turnovers. And they've tapered it back some, because that defense has been playing so outstanding that they can run more of a controlling style of play by running the ball a whole lot. And like you brought up, Kenneth Walker's got to have a good game to be competitive in this one. And I think that they're going to go with that same sort of option. They are going to be run heavy, work off the play action. Sam Darnold's still going to eat and hunt downfield. And then, if things start to get a little bit out of hand, if LA gets to another big lead, break glass in case of emergency, because Sam Darnold has the arm talent to whip that thing around. You have to be prepared for the potential of some of those turnovers. But last time it worked. Last time when they needed Sam Darnold to step up in that game versus the Rams, where they won in overtime, he did throw for 270 yards, 2 touchdowns. And a lot of that came towards the end of the game. They're playing in Seattle. It's an extremely tough place to play. You're starting to see them unlock some things like a little bit more out of Rashid Shaheed. Obviously, you can't project the kick returns like he had,
right.
But the way that this defense has been playing, the way it feels like they are getting hotter towards the end of the year, and the offense is milding out a little bit. But a big part of that is because they don't have to go balls to the wall because this defense is playing so good. I'm taking Seattle on the money line on this one. I like them at minus 134 odds. I have Seattle and New England as my 2 teams going into the Super Bowl this year. So I like Seattle in this game, and honestly, I think if that is the matchup in the Super Bowl, I'm probably going to be leaning towards Seattle as well.
Yeah, right now, I mean, they have been an absolute fucking wagon. Everybody they've run into, it seems like they've not had any problem with over the last month. Essentially, since the last time these guys have played, when it was played so close, they have been dominant since then. This is going to be a fucking another banger. Producer Amber in here dropping some notes for us. First meeting, Rams won by 2 points. So total of 3-point separation. I'm hoping for at least 3 points in this one. Since I'm dropping those 2.5. But man, that's it. We just got 2 games. We don't got anything else to do, man.
Yeah,
season's come to a close.
Don't kick me in the seasonal affective disorder right now. Talking about all this lack of football, I can't have it. But no, look, both these games have potential to be awesome. Obviously, that Seattle versus Rams game is almost guaranteed to be good. Statistically, looking at possibly the best game of the year, based off of how these teams have performed, EPA on offense and defense. And then you have a potentially crazy one there in Denver. If Stidham starts to play well, we could have a banger game there as well. So, a lot of fun, interesting football this weekend in these 2 games.
Yeah, it would be absolutely wild to see Stidham and the Broncos pull it off. But I'm just hoping for no points. Fuck the Broncos. I'm still salty. It's not even necessarily the Broncos. Fuck John Elway specifically. The drive, the fumble, like
John Elway's going to be out there, honorary captain for this game.
I know. It's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up. People in Cleveland hate fucking Elway, as we all should. My man, I don't have anything else. You got anything else before we get the fuck out of here?
No, sir. I think that wraps it up for the week.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I am Mike. That is Evo. This is Raw Dog Sports. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some of yours to us, we are forever grateful. I'm going to give Evo one last word, then we're going to get the fuck out of here. And the next time we see you guys, it will be from Mobile, Alabama. Evo, go ahead. Take it away, man.
So last time I made a plea on the show. We do this a lot of times. Obviously, we have to try to get more fans and stuff like that. We want to grow the channel. And thank you to everyone today who's been commenting about Somalia and Snickers veins and everything in between. We appreciate it. Even if it's wacky, we're wacky dudes. We're veterans. We like the wacky stuff. It brings us joy. It warms our cockles. But I do have to say, my feelings are a little hurt. We were at 925 subscribers on TikTok last week. And I was like, please help us make a push there. And we gained 2 people this week. So please, if you have it in your heart, take a chance, like, subscribe, and share our channel, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, please. X, wherever we are, because we're everywhere. Please just take a moment, like and subscribe to the channel. We would be eternally grateful. And we will be seeing you next week from Mobile, Alabama. So again, comment, let us know if there's anything you want us to do, if there's places you want us to hit there, if there's players specifically that you want us to look at and give you our honest opinion of, let us know and we'll be on it.
Oh yeah. Guys, thank you very much. We're going to get the fuck out of here. We'll see you guys probably Tuesday night from Mobile. I am Mike. That is Evo. This is Raw Dog Sports.